Here's a good little point on page 41. So it says, polish comes from the cities, wisdom from the desert. I thought that was a neat little point. Consider that the city is where you can find people to refine your abilities. You can find skilled people. But really the basis of what you're refining or polishing comes out of life experience, and often and sometimes harsh experience, which you find in the desert. Desert is where you must live, and desert is where the weak will not make it. The city is not such a place. Most people survive in the cities, right? They consider like the homeless aren't out in the country, right? They're in the cities. As much as the country don't necessarily have the richest of people, right? Farmers are not always the richest of people. They're working people. They're working class. The rural tends to be the working class, right? But the very poorest are not in the rural forests, right? They're in the cities, right? So I thought that was a good point, and it reminds me of, you might look up Bill Whittle on YouTube. He used to work for PJ Media or something like that, but I think they're gone now. Just recently, actually, I think last month they just kind of disappeared. But they used to make these 5-minute or so videos on really good topics, really well put together, produced in a studio kind of videos. And one of the videos he made was called 3 Days or something like that. 3 Days, I think it was called. And it was about that he wanted every American child at a certain age, I'm not sure what age, it might have been once a year actually, to spend 3 days in a forest with limited tools. And they either were going to work to have a decent time while living in the forest for 3 days, or they were going to sit and be cold at night and be hungry when the 3 days were over. And he thought that that would have been a very good experience for all kids to do that once a year, to spend 3 days living in bare subsistence and having to put the effort in to make themselves more comfortable, whether that's gathering wood to burn at night for some warmth, and whether that's gathering some food during the day so they have something to eat. He thought that experience would be important, and I think that's the same sentiment set here by the desert, wisdom from the desert. You gain life experiences from having to work in a harsh environment. But when you're in the city, your only opportunities in being in the city is polish what you've learned. Now, if what you've learned is very minimal, then there's very little to polish, right, when you're in the cities, to take advantage of that. But if you have a lot of life experience, then I think that your being in the city, and consider like doing some kind of study or research project or whatever, I think your life experience will aid that polish, that book or that study or whatever you might do with it. That the city will aid what you've already come with from harsher environments.